Hello guys and girls, this is how to identify trending and sideways markets. I'm going to make it nice and quick for you guys. As we know, this is the daily time frame. I'm going to keep it on the dailies to make it nice and simple. You can see that in front of us is a uptrend. This is an uptrend. You can always identify an uptrend by its high highs that it makes, as we've spoke about in the past, but I need to repeat myself slightly. I know it's boring, but this is how the brain stores information, is by repetitiveness. So yeah, high, 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 high. Here we are in an uptrend, clearly. We know this is an uptrend. But you're now thinking, but Sonny, how do I identify that the market's going to change? How do I know it's going to go into a downtrend? Well, the market always gives you warning signs. And this is the warning sign when it takes out the first low. When it takes out the first low and candle body closes, you see how it's not a wick. It closes with a body. It wicked before, but eventually it candle body closed. It closes here. This candle here. This candle here closes. So the market always gives you warning signs. So when we was in an uptrend, the uptrend, and then we took out this low, price come down and took out this low and candle body closed. If you can't remember what candle bodies are, then go back and watch the last video. But the bodies are not including the wicks, lads, yeah? The body needs the candle body close for it to be valid. And we call this a chock. When it was in an uptrend and then the first low gets taken by a candle body, we call this a chock. Okay? So then when price took out that low, most of the time, 85% of the time, there's a retracement, and this is the retracement. That is the pullback that you got. Price takes out the low, and then there's always followed with a correction afterwards. So then ultimately, as that first low got taken, this was your warning sign that the trend might be changing. And then ultimately it did. And then it took out this low. Okay? And then it took out the second low, which we call a BOS, which is a break of structure. And now price has made a lower low, and then this is your lower high. Okay, so I'm going to cover this while we're here. So now this is how we can identify a sideways market. Fits into a triangle. Fuck it, I need to go to sleep. It fits into a rectangle. Sorry guys. Fucking triangle. Someone give me a punch. And when you're marking these, you include the wicks and the bodies. You see how I've covered the wicks and the bodies together. You can include them both. It just fits into a nice little rectangle. But this is how you can spot a trading market, a sideways market, when it fits into a rectangle. And I'm going to get into this further, but it sweeps the low. And it probably is going to go up now. Yeah, it goes up, see. And then but the overall market is in a downtrend. The overall market is in a downtrend because it's making lower lows. And it's in a bear market as well for the cycles on crypto, but that's another thing altogether, which I'll get into. So price is going sideways, as we can see by the triangles. Fucking hell, by the rectangles. I keep saying triangle. I need to go to sleep soon, boys. So yeah, so when the market is going sideways, sometimes, well, most of the time, this here is a trap. But in fact, in this scenario, it made a higher high. It made a higher high here. Let me go back for you. This is the low that I took out. This is the new low. The lower high. Lower low. And then this here is the lower high. And then look how price broke out of this sideways market, which was here. I'll get rid of these now. But just know that this is a sideways market. Actually, I'm going to keep it. I'm just going to draw it here. I'm going to draw it here for you. Price makes a higher high here, which isn't confirmed yet, and then it confirms it with the second one. So it makes I'm going to zoom in here. Makes a higher high there, then it makes another higher high there, and then it makes another high. Can you see how it's starting to trend upwards, guys? We're now in like a, yeah, it made a high high, high high, high high. Look, high high here. You see how it made that lower low, and then what happened? See, the trend is starting to change. Price come down, retraced, and then look, I can't remember what happens there, but maybe it starts making lower lows, most likely. Okay, it didn't, but you would have caught the move here downwards, and then you would keep marking out your structure like this: higher higher, higher higher. You would have found some trades. You would have found some trades here for buys. Higher high here. See how it come and made another higher high. So all the way through here, you would be looking for sells here on that first low that got taken out of, and then maybe you might have got stopped out here when it took out that low. You might have got stopped out at break even, or maybe even took a loss, and then price come up, broke out this high, started making higher highs. You would have took some trades here, made another high high. You would have taken some trades here. This is one of my perfect setups, actually. This one, hold on, get rid of all this shit. This here is one of my ideal setups. So you would have been looking for buys, you know, all the way up through here, and then price come and took. Just gonna keep working on this together, boys. I know it might be a little bit tedious, but I need to drill this into you. So price took out that low. And then what happens? You see how price starts making lower lows. Can you see this? You see, look. So I'm just following it. Just follow price action. It makes it easier. Just mark it out. At the beginning, you're going to need to mark it. Whereas I can visually see it, you guys will need to mark it. So look, made a new lower low. New low, lower high. Lower low. Lower high. And you would have identified when it took out this low here, when price come down, retraced, and started making lower lows here, you would be looking for shorts here, here, on the second one. And remember what I said, when it takes out that first low with a candle body, it's called a chock. the first one, and then the second one we call a BOS, and then it's BOS's from that point onwards until price reverses and takes out a high in the opposite direction. But can you see how fucking powerful this is, guys? And you'll be surprised how hardly anyone even knows this. It's quite insane, you know. And if, okay, let's say you didn't take trades, but let's say you brought down here as an investor, you brought here or you brought here, and you saw this and you thought, you know what, I'm gonna take some profits on my positions just to cover my ass, pay the bills, you know. So it's extremely powerful, you know. And then prices keeps making lower lows. Actually, this is consolidation sideways market, because what does it do? It fits into a rectangle. So here, actually, you can take shorts. You can take shorts here. Once you've identified that it's a ranging market, you could have taken shorts, and you would have identified that it's going sideways by this high here, and then you would have been able to see it, and then you'd pull your rectangle in. You'd pull your rectangle in, and you'd be looking for shorts here as well. And then what happens when it broke out of the consolidation market? A new lower low. And then what happened? Price keeps going fucking downwards. Why? Because we're in a downtrend now. So this is so fucking important. So important to know this shit. Like, this is so basic but so powerful.